Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Hazi bin Azman. I am from 6 Gami 4. For today, I would like to discuss about one topic: foreign exchange impact on airline industry. The first question here, I will answer that for an airline with international operation, they need to translate the cash flow into different currencies, and the uncertainty surrounding the level of future exchange rate give rise to the foreign exchange risk. The size of the foreign exchange risk varies depending on the nature and scope of airline operations, as well as its corporate strategy. For airlines, the main foreign currency exposure is often to the US dollar, because key cost items, notably the fuel, maintenance, and overhaul costs, which is 40% of the total operating cost, along with the aircraft purchase and lease payment, are typically priced in US dollar terms, which means that if your company is from Malaysia, you need if you want to make some buying aircraft, we need to convert it back to the US dollar. Second question, the answer I will try to be simple as ever, because the main channel through which exchange typically affect the airline, which is the first, as we know that economy is depends on demand and supply. So the first one is a consumer decision, which is demand, which consumer whether want to buy the seat and want to use the service. And second is the airline decision, which is supply for the seat for the trip for one origin to another. And then last but not least is number third, which is a financial account. The airline company has it. What is the contribution consumer decision impact on airline based on the foreign exchange? Okay, from this, change in exchange rate can impact the composition of passenger demand. The degree to which this occur will differ on route by route basis, and will depends on the range of demand characteristics, including first is the balance of travel on specific route. Consider, for example, the US to Spain route, where that we assume that 2/3 of passenger traffic originate in the US. As a result, the recent fall in value of the euro versus the dollar is likely to be the net boost to the traffic, and as the positive impact of making trip to the Spain relatively cheaper for American outweigh the negative impact of making trip to the United States. So relatively more expensive for Spaniard to come to the US. Moreover, to the extent that the weaker euro make it relatively more expensive for the Eurozone resident to travel outside the single currency area. This would also support demand for intra-Eurozone travel. The converse holds for the US, where the overseas travel has become relatively cheaper compared to the domestic trip. So how can exchange rate influence airline supply decision? Okay, in the airline industry, capacity in the short run is essentially fixed. Airline may be able to respond to the relative price shift at the margin by changing the gauge of the aircraft on a particular route, or via strategic cancellation, for example, but this action will not fundamentally change the supply. Instead, the airline is more likely to adjust its pricing schedule rather than capacity to rebalance the supply and demand. Longer term, a permanent shift in the exchange rate may be a relevant consideration to the network planning or aircraft investment decision. However, this effect is likely to be easily overweighed by more fundamental consideration, including the expected level of future demand and corporate strategy decision. Exchange rate will typically be considered in the context of sensitivity analysis rather than be a primary driver. Rate fluctuation can also impact airline finance. Okay, where airlines incur costs and revenue in a number of currency, this gives rise to the possibility of mismatch in operating finance. There are three possibility scenarios. First, a natural hedge, where the level of foreign currency revenue exactly match the foreign currency cost. It is unlikely that an airline will have perfectly timing foreign exchange cost and revenue in terms of magnitude of timing. Second is a foreign currency deficit, where foreign currency revenue are lower than the foreign currency cost, and the third one is a foreign currency surplus, where the foreign currency revenue exceed foreign currency costs. For the last question, what I can give it to you is like large movement is exchange rate impact airline through the three main channels, which is a consumer decision, airline decision supply, and financial impact. Or of this, the consumer response to the significant move in relative price can be swift and many prompt a response from airline, including adjustment to the capacity. The financial impact can be especially acute for the airline when it relates to the sizable change in the value of the US dollar, as has been the case over the past 18 months or more. This is because the large proportion of airline costs, including fuel and others, are denominated in US dollar, and many carriers need to be converted domestic currency into dollar each year to meet their obligation. This gives the rise to the foreign exchange risk. Large currency movement can also complicate the task of comparing and aggregating the financial variable across the industry. Correcting for the such movement in the imperative to ensure that distortion are removed and underlying financial performance is analyzed. That's all from me for today, and I hope that you can understand a bit about foreign exchange and impact to the airline industry, whether in Malaysia or internationally. That's all from me. Saya pun sudah lapar, belakang banyak kedai makan, so kita makan dulu lepas ni, okay? Thank you very much for watching.